Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
With the glasses.
All right. Hey, guys.
With the glasses.
Welcome back to the show. Okay, we'll start over again.
Sorry.
1, 2, 3. All right. Hey, guys. Welcome back to our show. Today, we're here with Larry Levine, and what we're going to talk about is real estate expense management. Kind of a mouthful. Remember, guys, here at Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, really all real estate entrepreneurs, 2 to 5x their business, which allows them to build the businesses they want to build and live the lives that they've dreamed of. So, Larry, welcome to our show.
Thanks so much, Don. I appreciate being here.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you taking the time to come on. Real estate expense management, I know it's important. I know not a lot of people pay as much attention to it as they should. But before we get into all that, why don't you tell our audience a little bit about, you, your background, where you came from, how you got here?
Sure. Thanks so much. So some 40 somewhat years, almost 40 years of experience. My most recent experience before working for P3 cost analysts, I owned a home care business in Massachusetts for 14 years, helping families with their elders, take care of them at home. I had business partners. I had a franchisor. I was there, like I said, for 14 years, but we ended during COVID, and it was time to leave the business for numerous reasons. My daughter was graduating college during COVID, relocating to Maryland. So I essentially ended the business, sold it back to the franchisor, followed here to what we call DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia area. And soon after moving here, I joined P3 Cost Analysts, and we're able to help through our auditors and intellectual property, help business owners reduce their indirect vendor overcharges. So we could talk about what an indirect vendor charge is. So if you're in a business business owner, a real estate business owner, you're probably paying a lot of attention to your top line, to your portfolio, to building your business, buying properties, the value of the properties, whether it be multifamily, commercial, or hotels. You have other expenses to support this business: telecom, electricity. If you're a multifamily community or even commercial real estate or hotel, you have waste expenses. You definitely have property tax expenses. If you're a really large group if you have a large group of properties, you may very well, it's like multifamily communities or hotels, you may very well have leased copiers to support the business. You will probably have telephones. I'm sure you have telephones to support the business. You may have uniforms and linens if you're focused, depending on what the business itself, what's contained in those properties. These are all expenses, and we consider those to be indirect expenses. And while you're paying attention to these top line expenses that are very visible to the business, you're probably not paying so much attention to the utilities or the waste or the property taxes, as I said. And everything's negotiable. The worst they'll say is no. But if you ask them, you may get them. You may have an opportunity to reduce those expenses, but not as much as somebody that has the experience, the cost reduction experience, such as a business such as ours.
Okay. What is your introduction or experience to real estate?
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
How did getting that, or maybe applying this to that, bring up maybe some challenges that you might have went through, maybe some things that you had to overcome?
My personal introduction to real estate. So I used to own properties as a homeowner. I currently don't own a portfolio, although I'm looking at some creative financing options for the future. At present, my sole interaction with real estate are with real estate owners. As I said before, commercial real estate owners, some of our clients, commercial real estate owners, multifamily real estate owners, hotel owners. Senior living the majority of the revenue comes in through rents, actually. Any kind of manufacturer typically has real estate. Any other business, automobile groups, any multi-location business might own real estate, and we're able to help them and other businesses as well reduce some of their indirect vendor overcharges. And as I said before, for the most part, a building, I didn't say this is unnecessary, but a building is a building is a building. We're able to help the owner reduce some of these expenses. Some kinds of businesses don't have as much expenses as other types of businesses. For example, all of them have electricity expenses.
Right.
But a multifamily community passes on those expenses usually to their tenants. Mm-hmm. Where a hotel or commercial real estate business usually carries those expenses themselves and has, depending on where they are in the United States and how large their property is, those expenses might be quite large. And I should say, I can give some examples of some savings we've provided to some businesses recently. So just typically, and some of these are large groups and some of these are pretty small groups, but a 6-location portfolio, mixed portfolio out of Connecticut. One of the businesses was one of the properties was a multifamily community, by 120 units or so, I think. We were able to save that particular property $8,000 a year on their waste expenses. Wow. When we combined that one property with the other 5 commercial real estate properties, again, the multifamily property, the electricity is passed on to the tenants, but the 5 other commercial real estate properties, they carry the electricity charges themselves. Combined, the common expenses on the commercial real estate and all the electricity on the 5 others, we were able to reduce those expenses by $43,000 a year. Those are real midline expense reductions that increase the bottom line profitability.
So
sorry?
I was going to say, so how do you have is there special knowledge that you learned, something you had to how are you able to do that the normal person that is the owner of these assets can't go and do?
This is great. So our team, on our team are a group of auditors. Some auditors focus on their areas of expertise: waste auditors, utility auditors, property tax auditors. We have vendor payments. We have insurance auditors as well, who have deep experience. Usually, having worked on the other side of the conversation, work for these providers, know how to work with them, know what their processes are, know what they're looking for. And over the 30 years that this company has been in business, we've created what we call a cost level benchmark database. So anytime we work with a client or potential client, we take their data, put it into the database. We negotiate with the vendors, and we negotiate down to a new level where as we negotiate the rates down lower and lower and approach what we call our cost level. And we have cost level data on a zip code by zip code basis, SKU by SKU basis, service level by service level basis. And while we may not know exactly what your neighbor's charges are, we know what the charges should be in that zip code in general, whether it be for property tax, waste, insurance, utilities, as I said before. And we're able to negotiate that. So you as a property owner, You may be quoted. Let's talk about waste for a moment. You may be quoted $1,000 a month to pick up the waste at your particular property.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
You may find that acceptable. You may find that unacceptable and say, $1,000, that sounds like a lot. Can we do $900? And the vendor says, okay, let's do $900. You're happy, you got 10% off. They're happy because they gave you only 10% off. You don't know what their cost level is. But we're able to negotiate, as I said, with our cost level data and the skills that the auditor has down to what is effectively fair cost level, perhaps $400 a month, and bring that price down from $1,900 to $400. And
Interesting.
the next obvious question is, well, how do we get compensated? So our fee is a contingency fee. We get paid only if we're able to provide you with savings. So if in that example, 900 was cost level and we weren't able to go any further, you walk away with peace of mind that you got the right charge. You weren't wasting any money. But if we were able to negotiate that down to say $500 a month, saving you an additional $400, we're going to share that $400 on a 50-50 basis for 36 or 60 months, depending on what service level you want from us. We can monitor for you because waste vendors and other vendors tend to reintroduce errors, and they may be small errors. Have you ever looked at your cable bill? It goes up $1.50 a month, and over the course of 3 years, it just went up $60.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things happen in the waste world as well. So we're able to monitor that for you and keep them at the level that they agreed to, or not if you don't want to pay for that service.
So you're kind of doing like a full service, not only a negotiation, but also a management, I guess you could say, in a sense.
So we're managing the invoices. We're not going to tell you that you should be putting out more waste or less waste. We're not going to suggest.
That's what I mean.
We may suggest a different size bin. We may suggest, as we're doing with very frequently, one of my clients, we might suggest a different compactor pickup frequency. A compactor that is able to take 10 tons is being picked up every 1.5 tons. You're wasting pickup fees, maybe 3 times, 4 times a month for an incomplete pickup. If we can monitor that for you and reduce that pickup frequency, suggest to you to reduce the pickup frequency, maybe a different size compactor, maybe a different vendor. We may offer that as a suggestion to you, but we'd rather keep the same vendor, same relationships, and reduce those pickup expenses for you. But we're not going to suggest to you that you change the waste you put into these bins. We're not going to say, we're not going to tell you to turn off your lights. You know your business, whether you're a real estate business or any type of, you know your business. So we're just going to based on what you do, optimize the service, but certainly work with the vendor to renegotiate rates.
So why aren't more people doing this on their own versus having a need to outsource? I mean, why do you think people don't pay attention to these? What do we call them? Midline indirect expenses?
I think it's 2 primary answers, and there's a potential third controversial answer. Primary answer is number 1: they're paying attention to the top line. They're building their business. They're managing their clients. They're paying. They're buying new properties. They're selling properties. So there's that. That combined with the feeling that, as I suggested to you, they feel that 900 is as low as they could possibly go. Why would the vendor cheat me out of any more money than I already negotiated with them? And then in general, these charges, and they're not negotiable. In fact, they are negotiable. If you're coming in with $200 a month, it is not enough for either of us to. It's not worth our while to get into. But if you're at $1,000, if you have 10 properties and they're each at $1,000 a month, and we're able to negotiate down 30% on average, that becomes $3,000.
Yeah,
that's real money. If it's only $30 for what, it's not worth it. Yeah. I think the other thing is there occasionally, depending on if you're talking to a property manager or some CFOs, there's a pride that you can't do any better than I can. That gets in the way. I know how to do this. Been doing this for 30 years. How could you know better? We don't believe you. That that's the controversial topic here. Some of them may be right. Our statistics demonstrate that only 10% of them are right.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Our statistics, 90% of our clients we're able to help 90% of our clients reduce those expenses by 30 to 40% average. Some are not. Some, my first ever client, we were able to reduce his waste expenses by 75%. It was a retail business. They didn't own property, but the waste expenses that everybody has, some of them are 75%. I was recently told about another fitness business that had hundreds of properties. How much waste does a fitness business generate? Not much. The auditor saved them tens of thousands of dollars a year because they thought the waste expense is the waste expense. What am I going to do there? But be able to save them.
That's very interesting, and it's true. Not a lot of people, really think about it. Do you guys ever provide like education to folks on that? Besides just being able to do it for them, do you ever provide like education?
So at this level, certainly if someone comes in and we're talking to them and they don't qualify, because we have minimums to make it worth everybody's while. If they don't qualify, or recently someone came to me and said, 20 plus restaurants, again, different kind of business, but same issue. Being pressured to renew the waste agreement at this particular location as I'm talking to you. And I said, you know what? Don't renew. Let it flow for a little while. Even if you're overcharged, I don't want to see you being locked into high rates before we get in and help negotiate these waste rates for you. And that's true for electricity, whether it be regulated or deregulated. And I was going to say most people don't know what regulated electricity versus deregulated electricity is and what can or cannot be done in those spaces. We're going to come in with our electricity or utility order expertise and say, hey, there may or may not be an opportunity here to change your energy classification, provide you with an alternate supplier. Maybe you want green, which is probably more money, but maybe you want that. And we can provide that to you. And in some cases, some of those services are free because we get broker fees rather than commissions from the client.
Okay.
And then again, I said earlier, if you have a large portfolio, if you have to have one or two properties, they may very well qualify. You may very well be overcharged, and we may very well be able to help. But beyond that, if you got, call it 5, 10 properties, and you have leasing offices, you have multifamily communities. You have a leasing office in every single one of them. You may have telephones in each of these. Maybe they're cell phones. You may have a leased copier in each of these offices. You may have a back office as well that supports these sites. We could bring in other services, other cost reduction audits for telecom, for leased copiers, bring in vendor payment solutions, and maybe one or two others depending on what the business has. Again, most people think these are the expenses. They're not negotiable.
Yeah.
Everything's negotiable.
How much of your business is real estate? Like how many clients are real estate versus, or do you have like a main, probably like a main industry that you do a majority of your business with?
So I don't have percentages in front of me, but we're organized as a franchise network. So I have my slice of clients across the country.
Okay.
I have my slice of clients across the country. So in particular, kind of indirectly answer this question. If I'm talking to a hotel group or multifamily community commercial real estate, in my community, I think I said I'm in Annapolis, Maryland now. This group might have properties across the country. The CFO that I want to be working with might be in Dallas or Chicago. So I forget what question I was answering just now, but I would say that a large. So I was answering what percentage. I don't know what the other numbers are, but a large percentage of our business comes from these larger groups that have multiple properties. Again, whether it be multifamily, commercial, hotels, senior living, manufacturers, for the most part, utilities, electricity. manufacturer that owns the property probably is spending a lot of money on electricity, where a small retail shop, hundreds of dollars a month, may not be able to save them much, but
Right.
you see it as property.
Right. Where do you guys see your business or this industry going in the next couple of years? Like any trends that you're seeing, or do you guys have any projections as to where you want to take things?
More of the same. I think the services we offer will evolve as their industries evolve, and as politics evolve. We'll be bringing in more services, dropping services, but I think the opportunity to grow for us and our competition, who will remain nameless, is primarily education. As I said in one portion, I think there's an opportunity to educate the consumer, the CFO, the property manager, the portfolio manager, that not all costs are fixed, although they could be seen as fixed, and there's opportunities to negotiate that, and you don't necessarily have those skills. Focus on what you're good at building brand, at building culture, at building properties. And you'd bring in an expert on social media. You bring in your tax expert. You bring in your accountant. You bring in a marketing group that focuses on these things, on those particular topics. Bring in a cost reduction expert that will focuses on reducing costs in these spaces to bring more money into the business, to do more of the top line.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Like you said, I mean, you bring in someone to focus on your social media because you don't know how to do that. You bring people to focus on your SEO because you don't necessarily know how to do that. Exactly. Why not bring someone? And also, too, it's giving that responsibility off, or taking that responsibility off your plate and putting it to someone else, so delegating it to a more of a professional.
Yeah.
All right, here's your pitch, man. Time for the
My
pitch. Why and how could you help our real estate investors out there in their business, and what's your, how do they get in touch with you, all those cool things?
Cool. Thanks so much. If you're a real estate investor and you're looking to you're looking to own commercial real estate, multifamily real estate, hotels, and you're not actively managing, and even if you are actively managing your indirect vendor overcharges, give me a call. I can be reached at llevine@costanalysts.com, or my phone number. I don't even know my own phone number. 401. I don't call it. 401-205-2475. Again, I operate nationally. I can have a chat with you. I can guide you through the process. I'll tell you if you're not a candidate, and suggest to you on what you might be able to do on your own.
Okay. Is there any specific things, if they were going to call you and want to have that, analysis type of thing, that any information they need to bring to you? Kind of what, just portfolio size, those type of things?
So it'd be ideal if you bring to me your annual spends on a few of these categories. Waste, utilities, property tax. If you don't bring it on the first call, we'll have a conversation about what it might be. If you have 50 properties, then I'd also suggest you bring in your expenses for your telecom, and we'll have subsequent conversations there. But all properties have those three expenses: waste, utilities, property tax. Even if you're already working with an outside consultant or you have a property tax advocate, our property tax advocate would say, even if you're working with a property tax advocate where his success rate was 90% of the clients are able to save 30%, if I get this number right, it drops down to 80% of the clients are still able to realize a 20% tax savings. Mm-hmm. If you're talking about $100 more thousand a year in tax, that's still significant money. So it's worth the conversation. No obligations. We'll talk you through it, and if we're a match, great. If not, I'm happy to chat with you.
And let's be honest, guys, who out there in their businesses wouldn't want to save a little money, right? So I think it's worth a chat, but I think it's also important too to not let dollars slip through the crack, right? Especially when we know nowadays with costs and the economy and all that stuff, we want to make sure we have as much money as we can. Larry, I appreciate it, man, so much. Sarah, tell our audience again real fast how they get in touch with you.
My email address is llevine@costanalysts.com. My phone number, if I remembered it, 401-205-2475. You could also find me at costanalysts.com, and I have a subpage in the locations section under my name in Maryland.
Awesome. And we'll put all that information down in the show notes. So all you guys, if you guys want to get in touch with him, you have all that information. And I hope you picked up some good nuggets, especially, some of you business owners that maybe don't pay attention to those indirect expenses. Maybe it might be time to start doing that. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. We'll see you on the next one.
Thanks so
Cheers.
much, Sean. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.